One of the things I've seen people ask for the most in Pokemon TCG Pocket is additional search cards for Stage 1 and Stage 2 Pokemon. And I used to agree and also want this as my main deck is Venusaur, obviously a Stage 2, so it lacks the consistency of these basic decks such as Mewtwo and Pikachu. But now that I've played the game more and I've played in more tournaments and just play the game a lot in general, I don't know if that's actually a good idea for the game to add more search cards, and I'm gonna tell you why. So this is just an example of 20 cards I put together, and you may think, well, Pokemon Pocket is a 20 card size deck game. It's actually not. The deck size is actually 14. Because if we take a look, every deck, 99.999% of decks are required to run 2 Professor Research or 2 Pokeballs to even compete. The only deck I've ever personally used that does not have a Pokeball is my Onyx deck, like my Onyx fossil deck that is used for fun. And I quote, used for fun. Every deck that actually wants to be good and actually have a chance of winning will require to play these 4 cards. Professor Research is just a draw 2, which brings the deck down to 18, and then the second copy brings it down to 16. And then the 2 Pokeballs obviously give you a Pokemon, so that brings the deck down to 14, as these cards just give you more cards. They don't actually do anything in the deck. There is like a 5% chance that one of these cards may be on the bottom of the deck, which means it is more than a 14 card game. But in most scenarios where you actually either start with a Pokeball Professor Research, you usually actually use them all before you get to the bottom of the deck. But like I said, sometimes they are. So I am just saying that so someone doesn't comment about it. So let's say we add another search card like Pokeball for the Stage 1 Pokemon. So let me just put in like a Pokédex because nobody actually uses Pokédex as an example. So that's 2 more staples you have to play in every deck. If they added something like, let's say, a Great Ball that searches Stage 1 Pokemon, you are basically forced to run these 2 cards if you actually want to compete and have the most consistent deck versus other players, especially for competitive play. And what if they added an Ultra Ball for Stage 2 Pokemon? That's 8 cards. That means you have 12 slots left for your deck instead of the game currently where you actually have 16 slots left where you can customize only Professor Research and Pokeball. And obviously we don't know how a search card would work if they did add an additional for the Stage 1 or Stage 2 Pokemon. Because if we take a look at the Ultra Ball from the main game, like the main TCG game. So yeah, if we look at the Ultra Ball, what this card does is you discard 2 other cards from your hand, and then you can take any Pokemon and then add it to your hand. And honestly, I think this card would be too broken in Pocket. Maybe that's just I don't know, maybe that's just a personal opinion. Maybe I'm the only one who shares that. Because I don't think they're going to make you discard 2 cards because we don't have the draw power that the TCG does. So it would probably be some other thing. If not, it would just be like what I said, like the Pokeball, would they just give you a random Stage 1 or Stage 2? And I don't know. This is just something I wanted to talk about because like I'm not sure if we need it, like I said, because right now these cards are mandatory. Like you gotta play these cards in every single deck, and the more staples we add, is just the more like the less honestly like deck building you have. Like yeah, it makes the Stage 1 and Stage 2 decks more viable, but it also will just buff the like other decks. Like for example, like Pikachu. Obviously, Pikachu would not run the Stage 2 card, which means it only has 6 staples, but it just makes that deck even more consistent, which will probably just means it's going to be able to dominate over the Stage 2 decks anyways, because it'll just be able to knock you out and actually beat you before you even set up your Stage 2s. The only deck that would probably not really matter would just be probably Charizard, because Moltres just ramps you up anyways. But I don't know, this is just something I wanted to talk about. This is something I've been thinking about. And if you guys have a different opinion, let me know in the comments because I'm open to a discussion. Uh, it's just something to think about. I've just been trying to think about stuff because the new packs are 6 days away, and I'm gonna be real. I don't really have a deck profile I want to make. So I'm kind of just like trying to discuss stuff. And I think it is an interesting topic, to be honest. Like I really do think it's interesting. Like I've been thinking about this. Like like at the beginning of the game, I really wanted these search cards, but then I thought about like, for example, okay, let me make my Venusaur deck, which is currently that's not how that works. So if let me just get my grass types, or actually I can just go to it. I don't even know what I'm doing. I have this open. Why is that not working? Yeah, okay, just let me do this. This is like a one I was testing, but let's see. 21 cards. What does not need to be here? This XP does not. Yeah, okay. So this is my current Venusaur build. Let's say they added 2 more search cards, or just 1 more in general, like for stage 2 or stage 3. What, like, dude, like my deck is already so limited on space that adding these cards would just like be, I would have to like cut a leaf in the next speed, to be honest. Or I would honestly, I wouldn't be able to play Sabrina. So I'd have to cut Sabrina. I can't cut Professor Research or Pokeball because those are mandatory. Erica is just super useful in the grass deck, so I either have to swap out, take out X speed or a Leaf, which I probably would just take out X speed at that point, as Leaf is just stronger. So, and let's say they added both two search cards, like the stage 1 and the stage 2. I would have to cut my Leaf and I'd have to cut an Erica. And like I said, let me just add some random thing. Like the red card and the Pokédex are examples. So I would have my Pokemon lineup. I would have literally only 1 unique card in my deck. So I just don't think more additional search cards or more like beneficial for the game. I feel like it just limits deck building and it just limits the creativity of some of the decks. So yeah, I'm not really too sure. One thing I did forget to mention is you can switch like the ratio of Pokemon then if there are more search cards. Like maybe I wouldn't have to play 2 Ivysaurs, maybe I wouldn't have to play 2 Venusaurs, maybe I could just play 1 copy of them in the deck. I still just think though that it would limit deck building actually. Like I feel like it'd be more harmful to deck building than it'd be beneficial because you wouldn't be able to really run a lot of like tech options like Sabrina or Geos anymore for these stage 2 decks. Or maybe if you do swap the ratios and you can fit them in, maybe it would be beneficial. I'm not too sure, but it's just an additional thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention when I originally recorded. And yeah, I think that's it. But like I said, if you guys have a different opinion, let me know in the comments. And I think that's enough yapping, and peace out and have a lovely day.